In order to satisfy our direction and support to local charities and communities, OLG is preparing to implement new games and products into charitable gaming centres across Ontario. Paper play will continue to be offered, but it will be supplemented and updated with electronic versions. Before we talk about what is changing, it is important to understand the current environment. Today, charitable gaming centres offer bingo, break-open tickets, and instant tickets. All three are traditionally delivered to the player in a paper format and, in some cases, a mechanized format. In 2005, the bingo game was updated to offer players a way to play using an electronic device. E-bingo was introduced into pilot locations across the province and is simply an evolution of that same method where players can choose to dab on a touchscreen device rather than on paper. To start, players must go to a sales counter located in the bingo center to create an account. They choose how much to spend, are asked to create a personal identification number, and are issued a receipt. This is a personal and secure account for the player, but one that is also temporary and somewhat anonymous, as, other than ID that may be required to verify age, it is not tied to personal information. With their receipt number and PIN, the player can access the touchscreen device to make their bingo purchase for the session and begin to play when the game begins. People playing bingo on touchscreen devices are playing the same game as those playing on paper. E-bingo is simply an alternative offered to enhance play following the same ball call, but dabbing on screen rather than on paper. During gameplay, all purchases and winnings are tracked by the central computer system. Once finished playing, the player returns to the sales counter with their receipt and, in conjunction with their PIN, can cash out their account. With the introduction of e-bingo, we are able to offer additional bingo games to the player, personal play electronic games. While playing e-bingo, players can choose to play these games. However, rather than playing as part of the session game against other players, they play against the computer. Personal play games include electronic bingo, electronic break-open tickets, and electronic instant tickets, all simply electronic forms of the paper games offered in bingo centers today, but with more entertaining and interactive graphics and play one-on-one. Cost to play ranges in price from 10 cents to $1. Games can be bought and played at the player's leisure. Using that same evolutionary approach, we will also be offering new dispensing units for break-open tickets. Traditionally, and still today, break-open tickets are sold from plexiglass containers. The player makes their purchase at the sales counter and can choose their tickets from the box. They then play the tickets by opening the perforated tabs to reveal the result and redeem any winnings with the sales clerk. That method was then evolved to dispense the tickets through a conventional vending machine with the intention to provide added security and introduce some automation to the game. Players insert cash into the machine and their tickets are dispensed. Players play the tickets by again opening the perforations and proceeding to a sales clerk to redeem any winnings. We are now evolving again to the next version of the dispenser. Many of the same features remain, however there is now a touchscreen element and the results are presented using a more entertaining animated display. Security and integrity has been further enhanced whereby transactions are logged using a central computer system and the player's purchases and any winnings are maintained by account on the device. Although it is expected many players will enjoy the touchscreen interaction, a physical paper ticket is still dispensed for each purchase and can be peeled open to reveal the result. As with the two other traditional methods, the paper ticket is still pre-printed with the outcome of the game. Inside the device is where the deck of paper break-open tickets is loaded. These paper break-open tickets are similar to those offered today. You can open the perforations and see the play symbols to match and win. On each ticket is a barcode. This barcode is important to note because it carries unique information about the individual ticket. As they do currently, the tickets come in what is known as a deal based on OLG's game permutation requirements. We do not know where the winning tickets are in the deal. A deck of tickets is then inserted into the device and is now ready to dispense. As with the vending machine, the player can insert money into the dispenser. To make a purchase, the player presses the play button and a ticket is dispensed into the bin. In this case, however, while the paper ticket is being dispensed, the device is also reading the barcode to validate the results and show them to the player on the display. The player can still choose to open the break-open ticket to see the results if they wish. The break-open ticket dispenser does not use a random number generator. As we've seen here, it is in fact the pre-printed paper ticket that carries the outcome. There is no intelligence in the machine. It could also be compared with the self-scanners many players like to use to check their lottery tickets. Matching the outcomes between the ticket and the screen, you can see they are the same. The next product is another evolution of a delivery device, electronic shutterboards. Bringing bingo to a shutterboard was one of the first ways the game was evolved, moving from paper play to a mechanized device. As with regular games, shutterboard bingo is played in a designated session with a group of people. but rather than playing on paper, it is played on a piece of equipment. This machine uses static cards and little plastic shutters that players use to dab by closing over the number once it has been called. The appeal of shutterboard bingo is that the bingo numbers are called very quickly, one ball call every second or couple of seconds. It creates excitement and a challenge for players to keep up with the speed of the call. Once the player matches the pattern, they call bingo. That equipment is becoming obsolete. To preserve a game players love, OLG is continuing to modernize it, developing an electronic version. Similar in setup, but rather than playing on hard, static cards, players can play bingo cards on touchscreen devices that can be embedded into slanted counters or just placed on tables. The game will maintain most of the original features, but the new technology will allow both players and bingo center management more flexibility and offer a more modern and entertaining display. To play electronic shutterboards, players will start at the sales counter to create an account, similar to the e-bingo process. They will create a PIN and receive a receipt, which when used in conjunction at the e-shutterboard terminal, will allow them to access their account and make their purchase. Again, their purchases and any winnings will be tracked on their balance, which can be cashed out with a sales clerk when the player has decided to stop. The final game that we're developing is a quick or rapid draw bingo game. As it is still in development, we can only speak to the concept at this point. It will be a bingo game that is similar in nature to a lottery. It will follow the same purchase process, but there will be more emphasis on self-serve technology. The player will have several options with this game, including such things as number selection and number of draws in which to participate. The player will be issued a paper ticket, which they can use to follow the draw. The numbers will be called silently in the background, during which the player can choose to physically dab the numbers as they are called and/or wait until they are ready to check their tickets. Whether they have dabbed or waited, the player can then use the self-serve ticket checker to validate their ticket. As mentioned earlier, this will be a rapidly played game, whereby a draw will take place once every 10 minutes. Although it will follow a lottery style, the intention is to have it play out as a bingo game, where players try to achieve a set pattern and numbers are called from B1 to O75. The prize structure will be a combination of guaranteed and pari-mutuel prizes. This is a fairly simple description of the products themselves. However, the key points to note are, they are providing more entertainment value for customers. The products are taking existing bingo-type games and putting them into electronic delivery methods. The products are offered in an age-restricted environment, and, with the exception of the break-open ticket dispensers, all play must be activated at a sales counter with personnel managing the transaction. I hope this gives you some insight into the games and products that OLG is implementing in the charitable gaming centers.